Hey everybody, how you guys doing? Once again, Flashback Friday. Today is Flashback Friday and Broadcasting Flashback Friday. Broadcasting Flashback Friday, yeah, because we are broadcasters, right? I am a broadcaster. Broadcaster is like a vlogger for today's time. That's what people call everybody. They call each other vloggers. Well, I'm a broadcaster because I was broadcasting and vlogging back in the day. So it's starting around 1978 to keep it real. That's why you guys see all the white hair here. Yeah, I'm an OG. So today's date is the 26th, I believe. The 26th. Let me check my computer here. I believe it is. It's the 26th of April, if I'm not mistaken. Where's my keyboard here? Where's my mouse? Okay. I believe it's the 26th of April, 2024. Okay, and Friday, of course, it's Friday. Broadcasting Flashback Friday. I'm just double checking. It's 4:41. Wow, time is getting. It takes a little time to set up video. It takes a little time to figure out what's going on. So as you can see, I got some cameras in the background. A couple of things we're going to talk about those and things in a minute. Because today is Flashback, Broadcasting Flashback Friday. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time trying to make this video. We're going to try to get through it really quick. But I just wanted to say. We'll start off with, I think we need to start off with this to make things right here. We got the Radio Shack. We finally got the Radio Shack TRS-80 computer. Okay, I just wanted to say thank you to the donors out there who donated to help me get this. This is, my tracking is off a little bit, I know, because this is reflecting and everything. But this is the TRS-80 computer that I was telling you about. Keyboard, base keyboard, your cartridges go in here. You got your outputs in the back here, which is NTSC, I think. So you can hook it up to your television set. This was designed back in 1980. I think this came out in 1980. That's why they call it the TRS-80. This is a color computer. There was one before that. It was a TRS-80 as well. And that wasn't the color computer. I wanted the color computer. It has the color logo right here. Okay. It has a color logo. We're going to have to clean it up a little bit. We'll clean it up a little bit with some Windex or something. But this is the one we got from our donation. Thank you guys for donating to help us get this. Okay, so we're going to set it right here for right now, out the way here, because it's kind of heavy. Now the purpose of that computer is we're going to take it apart. Now my tracking's off. That's okay. We're going to take that computer apart and we're going to I'm not sure if we're going to take it apart or not. I think we're going to modify it a little bit in a sense, where we're going to put a microcomputer inside of it. So we're going to take a microcomputer and we're going to build it inside of it so that it's going to be usable to today's standards. That's the project. That's why everyone donated. The people that donated, thank you out there. Shout out to my donors out there. I'm trying to think. Maria Vanquez. Thank you, Maria Vanquez. She donated. Thank you for the 20, I think. And no, she donated $13. I think it was 13. Thank you, Maria, for the $13. Thank you, Roderick. Roderick donated twice. Thank you. He donated. We want to give you shout outs. Shout outs. It was $15 here and another, I think, $20. Thank you, Roderick. And once again, the plumber guys from El Paso. Thank you guys for donating. They donated. I think it was 25, and we were able to get this. And I put in my own money as well to make this happen. So we were able to get that computer, and very, very happy with that. We still don't have a monitor, so if you guys want to donate to get the monitor, I would love to get the monitor. I don't know if it's still available. I got to double check. It's on eBay, and it was like $60, and that was actually a pretty good deal. But I don't know if we're going to be able to get the monitor or not. If not, I have a plan for it without the monitor. So, you know, if we can't get the monitor, I have a plan for it. Now, the reason I got this particular model, we're going to show it one more time. As you look at the texture, you look at the colors, and you look at everything. Well, this is going to go, it's going to be a theme that's going to go along with our complete theme. I have a lot of text, I have a lot of products that have the same texture, the same color, the same paint scheme. And I'm into putting together themes. I like to decorate a little bit. I think I got that from my mom, because my mom used to decorate all the time. She used to, back in the day, you can see she got gold pictures and stuff on the wall and things like that. So she used to decorate with a lot of gold. Now I'm decorating with silver. Okay, I'm changing it up a little bit. But she used to decorate with a lot of gold. And speaking of my mom, we're gonna start off with this. This is my mom's camera from 1970, I believe. Okay, 1970, 1971, 1972, somewhere around there. This is a Polaroid camera. Since this is Flashback Fridays, and look at the case here. Case is in very good condition. Okay, this is not my mom's actual camera. Okay, it was lost years ago, probably many years ago. Some Windex on it. I got to clean it up a little bit. But this is a Polaroid one that I acquired a while back, and I wanted to talk about this. This is the Polaroid SX camera. We're going to open it up. Gotta be careful with this old pleather or leather, what do they call it. Gotta be careful because it definitely will break apart, being as old as it is. This is definitely a classic camera. You've seen these before. I used to love this camera. My mom, I remember when she got this camera, she was like, "Kids, look at my new camera. Look at my new Instamatic Polaroid camera." And you just pull it up like this, and bam, you were ready to start shooting. It locks. Let's see. It locks in like this. Okay, it locks in from the side. You got a little sidebar right there that kind of locks it in. And this is the Polaroid camera from like 1970 or 71 or 72, something like around there. What's his name? Alan Land. Edwin Land. He was the designer of all the Polaroid stuff back in the day. You guys can look his history up. It's really very interesting. And unfortunately, after he made this one, no, it was Kodak. Kodak got sued because Kodak tried to come out with an Instamatic camera, and I actually have that one over there too. It's an Instamatic camera with the film that comes out. This is like hit it. You press the button, and zzz, zzz, your Polaroid film would come out. It's pretty cool. And what happened was there was a battery pack that was built into the Polaroid film. A lot of people didn't know that it was a battery pack, because I used to take these things apart all the time and experiment. I was like, Mom, because my mom used to throw away the film when it was done, throwing away the cartridge, and the cartridge had a battery in there. I don't remember how. I think the battery was like 3 volts or something like that. And I used to use those batteries all the time. And it was a flat battery cell that was built into this camera. And every time you got a new pack of film, you got a new battery that was in that cartridge. And you put the cartridge in. As soon as you put the cartridge in, it would pop out a test piece of film or whatever. A test, you know, I forgot what to call it, but it would pop out the test part that would pop out automatically, and that was like the covering, I believe, of the film. I'm not that much into these things, but I had to get this to represent my mom. I want to say happy Mother's Day, happy birthday, everything to my mom, because my mom started off with this camera right here back in the day, and I love my mom, and this is a big reminder of my mom taking a lot of Polaroid pictures with us. We still have those pictures in albums to this very day. So happy Flashback to my mom, Mother's Day, birthday, everything to my mom. This is a dedication to my mom on this camera. The Polaroid SX70. Very hard camera to get too. Classic camera. These go for a pretty good price on eBay right now. I was able to get this one a while back, and I was very happy to get it. So thank you guys for donating as well towards this camera when I got this camera way back in the day. This is the Polaroid SX from the Broadcaster Museum. It's going back to the Broadcaster Museum too. Okay. Anyway, so we're gonna pop it back down here. If I can. Oops. I don't think I popped it down right. Oh man. Let's pop it back up again. Pop it back down. You gotta do it a certain way, or is it here? Oh man, that's not good. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out later. We're gonna put this to the side. But anyway, this is the Polaroid SX70. Enough of that. We'll come back and play with you a little later. We're gonna put you to the side here, buddy. Okay. Also, we wanted to talk about. We're gonna just do a quick talk about this Canon camera. The Canon at I think it's too bright, huh? This is the Canon Vision 8. We talked about this earlier. We're not going to talk that much about it, but I definitely wanted to show you this is the Canon 8 in comparison to... I don't know if I should go into those yet. We're not going to talk about that yet, but yeah, we will talk about it. This came out in 1985. This is a very lightweight camcorder, and it's Canon. I think it was Canon, one of their first 8mm camcorders. We talked about it earlier. I just wanted to show the case. The case is kind of huge. Okay, this is the case for it right here. You can see how big it is. And I kind of cleaned it up a little bit. And we got all this from the thrift store. Just keeping it real. This came from the thrift store a while back. Very, very happy with it. Canavision, okay? Canavision 8. Canavision 8 case. And it's the case is the HCE1. The HCE1 case. And this is the VME1 camera. Okay. Enough of Canon. The case is heavy. Heavier than the camera. I'm going to put the Canavision down. Okay. Next flashback. Broadcasting Flashback Friday. Thing that we want to show is, we'll go back to this computer one more time. We're going to keep on this thing for a minute. Okay, this texture, this color, the TRS-80 computer. Okay, you seen it again? If you look in the back, we have a Sharp camera. This is we're going to call this a cyber camera because we want to do the cyber theme. So we're going to call this a cyber camera. This is actually from 1984, I believe. 1984. And I like it. It's a gun type camera made by Sharp. And the model number on this, for anybody that wants to know, is the QC50. The QC50 Sharp camera. And they made probably several different models at that time. I don't know. Like I said, 1984. I didn't have this in 1984, but I really like it. And we're going to talk about this because this is there's a theme behind it. You notice the texture, you notice the color, and you notice that it matches. I don't know if I want to lift this thing up again, but you notice that it matches and everything. Yeah, it matches. So that was primarily why I wanted to get these items, because we're going to put together a nice little package, a nice little theme. Okay, this is 1980. This is 1984. Okay, and then just to show another one of those cameras back in the day, this would be like this is the Panasonic version that came out. Not exactly what, not. I think this was 1984 too. There's a lot of commercials with this. There's like a beautiful girl and she's walking around the beach and she has one of these and she has a little Panasonic VCR, because these got cords on them. I forgot to tell you, these cameras got cords on them. So you have to hook these up to a VCR. Back in the day, you had to carry around a big old VHS unit, and you would plug it in, and the end of your cord looks like this. That's the end of your cord looks like. And it goes right into the VCR. And speaking of that, we just happen to have a VCR. Yes, we just happen to have a VCR right behind me, as we see. And we're going to pull it out. And if we pull it out, it looks like a boombox. Has the handle here. This is a Sharp VCR. Okay. So this is all going to be part of the theme. We're going to set it all up. And it's going to be cool. This is VHS. Big old VHS part opens up. Your controls are right there in the top. And this is Sharp. So that camera plugs right into here. The Sharp camera plugs right into here. This thing is hecka heavy. That was like a boombox VCR you'd carry back in the day. And like I said, with my Sharp camera, I had it all hooked up. I had it set up on display in the Broadcasting Museum. We're going to probably put it back and set it up. But this was on a tripod. And then here's the long cable. Here's the long cable. It knocked over the Panasonic camera. And then this cable right here would plug into the VCR. So we're just going to set it back here for right now. Sharp and Sharp. Okay. So, like I said, that was in 1984 and 1985. It was a big transition of the way they started making cameras. And like I said, they went from the big VCR carrying around to something like this. And this was like groundbreaking back in the day. This is groundbreaking to have something like this. If you had something like this, it was pretty fantastic. You can see we went from that to smaller camcorders later on. I still like my mini DVs. We went to mini DV camcorders like this later on. So they got smaller and smaller. Built-in VCR. Everything's all built into this. And now there's no VCR. There's no more tapes, right? There's no more tapes. Everything is all on your phone now. It's all built into the phone, built into flash memory, built into the memory on the phone. That's where we are now. I'm recording right now on the DJI Osmo Pocket camera, by the way. I don't use any tapes anymore, but I just wanted to show this for Flashback, Broadcasting Flashback Friday. Now, since we're talking about the VCRs, I'm gonna go back to my old Technicolor VCR. It's still in the box here. You guys seen this from one of my previous videos, Technicolor. Can y'all see that? But this box is heavy. I'm gonna put it to the side real quick. I'm gonna open it up. I'm gonna show you something here. When I'm talking about themes, we try to keep this baby. This is in really good shape. This is all the packaging for all the tapes and stuff. You guys seen that on the previous video. If you haven't seen it, go back and take a look at it. Power supply, everything's in mint condition here. And where we're getting at is, wow, the book's still in the bag and everything. We don't really want to play around with all this because this is part of the Serious Museum. This is part of my history. In 1981, this was my first VCR. And or 1980, this came out in 1980 or 1981, and this was the Technicolor VCR. Okay, I just wanted to show this again because it's in mint condition. I've never even turned it on. This is one that I got off of eBay, and I got it for nostalgic purposes. Don't really plan on using it, but it has the same connector on the side where that sharp camera I just showed you a little while ago. We plugged right into this, so that would be part of the thing. We could use the sharp camera with this as well. And then, once again, I'm not going to pull the computer out again, but this has the same texture as the computer. So we may set all this up on display, like in a glass case, showing you 1980s way we did video. So you would carry this around. I got the strap and I got all the stuff. It's got the strap connectors on the side where you put the strap on, and you would carry this around. And you got your sharp camera or your Technicolor camera. I do have a couple Technicolor cameras. Not the exact one that went with this one, but I do have a different model, a little bit bigger. And I also do have Hitachi. Hitachi is actually, Hitachi and Technicolor were the same brand company back then. So the actual camera that went with this one, I have the Hitachi version of it. I don't think I brought it over here. If I do, I'll find it in a little bit. But the Hitachi camera is the same camera that went with this one, but I got the red version. I don't have the silver version. But one of these days I'll get the Technicolor silver version that went with this. 1981. I'll probably pop a couple commercials on this later on. This is my baby right here, though. We're gonna pack it back up because once again, this is my baby. This is going back to the Broadcaster Museum. I just pulled it out of the Broadcaster Museum to show you guys. Have the big piano keys. Where's the eject? Where's the eject? That's how to eject it right there. Anything is loud. That's how to eject it. You put the tape in. And I got brand new tapes. I got the tape still in the package and everything too. We have not even used this. So this is going to go back to our Broadcaster Museum. My 1980 first VCR. A lot of guys on the channel, they always talk about their first cameras and their first VCR, or mainly their first cameras. They don't really talk about VCRs too much because, you know, a lot of the guys are younger and they were born in the 90s, and I wasn't born in the 90s. I was born in the 60s. So since I was born in the 60s, I was born in 1963. I have a lot older stuff to look at. There's your manual again. Dang, this baby's nice. I love looking at this. So I'm gonna put that back in the box. And you guys just bear with me for a minute. I'm trying to box it back up. Original box. Got the power supply in there too. The power supply is actually pretty heavy. And all the other stuff is inside of here. I'll show you guys one more time. This stuff is still in here. You got your battery. This is your battery. You got your cables right here still in the plastic. The CVC cassette deck. CVC cassette, which is actually your videotape. They call it CVC. It was a different format. It wasn't 8mm. It was CVC. So look that up. And here's my strap I told you about. The RF connector, RF modulator, converter, whatever. All that's still in here. Mint condition. Have not even been used. So this is like a brand new unit, to be honest with you. Brand new unit all the way from 1980. Very, very rare. Maybe one day I'll sell it. But I paid a little money for this too when I got this. I paid like $160 or something like that, which is a great deal. You're not going to find one of these in that condition for that price. So, all right, we will come back to you, Technicolor, in a little bit. So that's part of the theme. that's going to go with, once again, the Radio Shack computer. I'm not going to bring it out anymore. The Radio Shack computer, because it has the same color, the texture, the gray. And the reason I started off with that is all because of this, the Cybertruck. Yes, the Cybertruck. This is the Cybertruck we've been waiting on. You guys seen it before. You've seen it in action. You've seen it working. Haven't used it in a while. Here's the remote control. We'll do another drive with the Cybertruck maybe this week. So the Cybertruck is going to be also put on display with all this. Okay. Put the Cybertruck over to the Cybertruck. And we're going to put the Cybertruck over here. I don't want the Cybertruck to get scratched up. You know what I'm saying? So we'll put the Cybertruck up here. So if you look in the background, I don't know if you can see, but if you're in the background, we got the Cybertruck, we got the Sharp camera, we got the Sharp computer, all that. You probably can't see it, so don't worry about it right now. And then, once again, Panasonic camera. It's got the same color as the Cybertruck, so that goes into the Cyber Museum. We're gonna have a Cyber Museum too, a Cyber Broadcasting Museum. And I got the Back to the Future car. You know, artists, they always have models and things like that. So I have a lot of little models. We don't call it toys. We call it models. So I got the Back to the Future car, the DeLorean. I got the DeLorean from 1980. That's part of the whole system. I actually got it sitting in front of me right now, floating above my Bromac. The Bromac is the iMac. You look at the previous videos, you know what I'm talking about. The Bromac is the iMac computer. And, oh yeah, this is my Video 8. We played with that the other day. We're not going to pull that out. That's the one I got the other day. I told you that thing is pretty amazing, by Sony. And speaking of Sony, was that called a Handycam back then? Let's look at it real quick. That was called a Handycam back then. A lot of stuff to cover here. No, this is the Maverick. I'm sorry. This is the Maverick. We'll show it real quick though. This is the Maverick. This was the floppy camera. I did find the floppy finally. Did I put it in there? Yeah, I put a floppy in there. And when you open it, you have to press this down. Press it down. Bam! There's your floppy. So this is the floppy that you would put in these type of cameras back in the day. This is a Maverick digital floppy. This is like a 19. Forgot what year this is, but this is Sony Maverick. This is the 73. Okay, it was the M73 or something like that. The MVC FD73 model, and they got a lot of different models. I've got some more of these too in the Broadcaster Museum. We'll talk about that another day. But these were the digital cameras. They came out around 1997, and I guess we'll leave it out for a minute because I'm going to compare it to. I'm going to show you real quick. I showed you guys a couple other. I'm not going to go into this deep. I'm not going to talk about this very long because I talked about this the other day. I was so excited about it. I got these cases. Their cases are very similar. So this case is a lot thicker, and this one had the Video High 8 Handycam. Okay, we'll talk about that. So this is the Handycam. You put your hand in here like this, bam. That's why they call it a Handycam, because you just put your hand in here. You can just do everything with the one hand, and all your controls will be at the top here, and you control it. We talked about all this. This thing actually works. Has a flip out screen. This thing was way before its time, and it has the whatever. It has that thing right there too, the sunshade. We talked about all that. This is a very unique camera. I was happy to get this. It actually works. Battery works. Everything works. I can't say anything bad about this thing. I don't know what this thing cost back in the day. It probably was pretty pricey. But this is the Handycam. Came out in 1996. This is a 1996 camcorder. So this was pretty small in as far as camcorders back in the day, and it was a Handycam. And speaking of Handycam, if we go back to the 19, did I bring the other one over here? Oh man, I don't know if I brought it. This is a 1987 Handycam. This is Sony, and this is Sony. Both of these are Sony. This is 1996. This is 1987. Still has their Sony branding on the side. You can see you put your hand in there, boom. You're filming, boom. This one actually could not rewind. It could only play tapes. 1987. This one could only play tapes. I like it though, the boxy look on it. So I got it because it was just I had to have it for the Broadcaster Museum. I have a lot of Sony cameras once again, so I had to add this to the collection. Sony Handycam from 1996. Sony camera Handycam from 1987. 87. Okay. I guess we'll talk about one more over here. I got the square box one. Where is it? It's kind of hard. Well, we'll just talk about this one real quick. I don't want to talk about this one right away. This one is a handy cam from also, I believe, the strap is missing on here. I got to put the strap back on here, but you would hold it the same way. This is the underwater handy cam. Okay, the sports edition. This is a sports edition. I just kind of upgraded it. So in the front here, I got this housing I put on here, kind of rigged it, and I got an adapter on here. This is actually an adapter for GoPro. I got the GoPro actually built into here. So this is the GoPro 6 is built into this. This is my handy cam. This is actually from like I'm gonna say 1987 too, but I'm not sure. So you guys look at this up and give me the details on this. This is the Sportsman Handycam underwater Sony camcorder, and then I got a little light here from Home Depot, and it kind of matched a little bit. It's actually an LED light. I think the batteries are dead right now, but it's very, very bright. And I just wanted to put that together like a little theme here. So this is the Sony Handycam from like I think it was, I can't remember. I think it was 1987. You guys check it out. And the GoPro is in the front there. You can see inside there's the GoPro. So this one actually works. You can turn it on, boom, start shooting, and you're ready to go. Yeah, we'll play around with this another day though. But the reason I put it over here because I wanted to kind of show you guys Handycam. Oh man, I didn't show you the other hand. I can't get to it right now. Handycam has been around for a long time. The Sony Handycam camcorders have been around for a long time, and I got so many to show you. I just don't have all the time to show you. We'll show you the case. This right here is a case for the 1985 Handycam. Okay, and let's see what I can come out of this. What I can get in here. Okay, so when you open this case up, I took the camera out, man. Well, we'll show the VCR. This is the VCR that you would have had to play it back in, because in 1985 you got a small VCR like this. This is the Sony VCR. This is actually pretty small too, compared to a lot of the other Sony VCRs previous to that. They were huge. I've got one over there, the Betacam, the 340 Beta, and then I've got the 3/4 inch. They were really huge compared to this. So this is pretty nice back in the day. Has a handle too, so you can see I'm holding it up with my thumb. I couldn't hold those other VCRs up with my thumb, trust me. So this was a pretty cool thing. So you could rewind, play back, hook up to your television. It came with a bunch of adapters. It also comes in the case, and the camera comes in the case too. I just set the camera down somewhere. We'll find it in a minute. But this was the Video 8 VCR. Before they started attaching it to the camera, they started taking this and started getting smaller and smaller, and then they finally started attaching it to the cameras. So that's where a camcorder came in, and I think Sony has a patent on that name, camcorder. I'm not sure, but I believe so. So you guys do the history on that. But there's so many cameras to show you. Here's one of the Sony batteries that I didn't put back in the case. We'll put it back in the case. The reason I wanted to show you that is because, well, I'll show you half of the camera. This is half the camera. This is the strap part of the camera that you would have. This hooks onto the actual camera from 1985, and I just set the camera from 1985. I just set it over here somewhere. We're going to find it in a minute. But this is it unsnaps. So your microphone is on there, and your microphone actually comes off too. I think the microphone comes off. Yeah, the microphone comes off. But this snaps onto the camera body of this camera that went with this VCR. And I gotta find it. I got two of those actually. I got two cases. Yeah. Here's the other case right here. Yeah, here's the other case right here. So, like I said, when you're a collector, sometimes you get cases and stuff for parts and whatever. It tells you over here, Video 8, Sony, Handycam, blah blah blah. These came from Goodwill. Once again, both these came from Goodwills at different times, different years. I remember getting this one long time ago, and then I got this one not too long ago, or vice versa. And I'm opening it up upside down, which is not good. Okay, so when you open this thing up correctly, it's going to look like that. Okay, Once again, this one has the VCR in it as well. And this is what the camera looks like. This is what I was trying to show you a little while ago. This is what the camera looks like. This is from 1985. So this is the technology that we're looking at. So you see from 1980, you had to carry around the camera and a big old VCR. And then 1985, they got a little smaller. This was really cool. I did not have this in 1985. I would have loved to have this in 1985. I was still carrying around a big VCR. I really wasn't carrying around too much. I was doing most of my videos at home, like what we're doing now. And I just had the VCR sitting somewhere and plugged up to a camera. This is pretty cool. You slide down the lens cover, and then this camera did not rewind. You look through here, and you saw whatever you saw. You record it, and this is a cool camera. I just like it because it's got that boxy look, that square boxy look. And then once again, this part detaches. I'm not going to detach this one right now, but it detaches somehow. You hit a button and whatever, the thing slides off, and then you end up with this right here. Okay. Once again, I got two of these. I just set the other one down somewhere. I'm going to put this back because this is a very classic camcorder. We want to put these on a glass display eventually. For the Broadcaster Museum right now, I kind of just keep them in the cases. And like I said, you had all these different modules and stuff this would plug in, so you could have RCA and audio on one side, and the other side you had your RF, which you would hook to the back of your TV. This is back in the old days where you had to hook one cable to your TV, and it was called RF. Okay, so that's to kind of show you how that works. And we're gonna get these two cases out of here eventually. Now, this is this Broadcasting Flashback Friday. Oh man, so many things I want to show you guys, and I just can't show you everything. I know that, I understand that, but one of the things about Broadcasting Friday, I post a lot of stuff about broadcasting, which is really, that name came from broadcasting, and broadcasting is a name that I always looked at as being a professional, being in the professional industry with video cameras and video work. So broadcasting, I never say broadcasting, I'm always saying broadcasting. I'm a broadcaster, and the name broadcaster came from the word TriCaster. The TriCaster was a unit that I wanted way back. I think it came out in 2005. And the TriCaster was a square box computer that came out, and I really wanted it really bad. It was like $5,000, too much money. I probably could have got it if I'd saved my money back then and do what I needed to do, but I was gambling back in 2005, right? Yeah, so yeah, didn't work out. So I didn't get the TriCaster back then. And the TriCaster was like the ultimate thing for me, because I had cameras back then. I had all kinds of different cameras. We had composite cameras, which is RCA cameras, composite, and I think we had some HDMI. We had some high definition cameras as well. The little Sanyo Exacti cameras I showed you guys about a week ago. But the TriCaster was a way of putting everything all together. It was a way of connecting 4 cameras in at one time, and being able to switch from one camera to the other camera, and doing live video, and being able to have like a newsroom, because I like to do the news stuff all the time. WBN, World Broadcast News, telling you guys about the news stories. So the TriCaster was like perfect for me back then, and I really wanted it. So I couldn't afford the TriCaster, so I came up with the name Broadcaster. That's where that came from. Everything was about casting back then. I think there was a thing called the Globecaster. There was a big old box, huge box, called the Globecaster, which originally came from came from Trinity. It was a box called Trinity, and you guys see me post that sometimes. I used to want a Trinity really bad back then. The Trinities they started off as at $4,999 or whatever, but by the time you buy all the modules and all the cards and everything else that went with it, it ended up costing you, I priced it out, they were talking about like $30,000, okay? It was crazy. I mean, if you got a full-blown TriCaster, a Trinity, that's a whole nother story. That started in 1998. The Trinity was like the toaster on steroids. That's what they call it, the toaster on steroids, I think. So it started off was the video toaster. Going back in history, the video toaster was the first unit, and that was made. It was a card that went inside the Amiga. So you'll see me post that. Maybe I'll post some of that stuff today, so give you guys an idea. But I wanted that, and that came out in 1990. Okay, so you guys can see I've been doing video for a while. I was doing video for a while, but right into when 1990 came out, I was like, wow, this is the way to do it. This is the way to do video. This is the way to put up your titles, your lower third, your graphics, to do all the stuff that I always wanted to do. 1990 was the year where I could take all my old camcorders and my color cameras, like I'm showing you back here in the background. I could take these camcorders, and now I could really do something with them, and I could have my own news show, or my own talk show, or whatever I want to do. So the toaster was the start of everything in 1990, and I didn't get it in 1990. Like I said, a lot of things that I get might be 5 years later, 10 years later, 20 years later, whatever. It's still usable. You just got to know how to use it. And I always focused on it and looked at it, how it was connected and that type of thing. And I was like, you know what, I'll get this one day. I'll get it one day. So I ended up getting a toaster later on. I think I got my toaster, let me think when it was, had to be around 93. Okay? 93, 94, maybe even 95. Can't remember the exact year. I remember living in North Highlands on a street called Harrison. Yeah, street called Harrison. And I had a 5-bedroom house. Yeah, can you believe that? 5-bedroom house of renting, not buying. I rented a 5-bedroom house, 3 bathrooms. Yeah, it's 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, $800 a month. I think it was $8 or $850 a month. Fantastic deal. Yeah, I thought that too. So we're talking about around 1995. I got that because I remember I was working for Packard Bell, and Packard Bell laid me off. They laid off 1,400 people at the time. And I wasn't a technician. I was a tester. They call it a tester. Someone that comes down, work on the assembly line, and people would build the products. They build the computers, and when they built the Packard Bell computers, I would test them, make sure they're working okay, and then send it on. Then the next person would do their job, like packing. They were going to packing. So I worked at Packard Bell, and not for a long period of time. I think I only worked there for like a year or something like that, and then I got laid off. And 1,400 people, they just told us one day, hey, you're not working here no more. Go to this building and go to that building, get in line, and pick up your check. No severance pay or nothing like that. Just pick up your last check or whatever it was. Like, all right. So that same day that I got laid off, which was really interesting, I think I told a story about this a long time ago in Bro Life, is that the day that I got laid off, me and my, were we married back then? I don't know if we were married back then. Yeah, me and my wife, we actually were supposed to be moving out of a duplex that we were in into the 5-bedroom house. So that particular same day that I got laid off, we were supposed to go sign papers to move into the house. So I just said, hey, I'm not going to say nothing if you don't say anything. We're going to move in that house. And I went and bought the kids video games. Yeah, my stepchildren, I bought them video games. Back then it was Sega and Nintendo and Super Nintendo or whatever it was. I went and bought them some video games, and I had them all kind of laid out when they got home from school. And my wife came home and she was like, hey, what's going on? I said, I got laid off. I said, but we're going to be all right. We're still moving. We're still moving today. Okay? So we went there. We signed the papers. And they were like, hey, you work at Packard Bell? I'm like, yep, I work at Packard Bell. But hey, they say fake it till you make it, right? So that's what it was. It was fake it till you make it. And when I go back and I look at that time, when we moved in that house, $800 a month. That was a great deal compared to what we were paying at the duplex. I forgot what we were paying at the duplex. I think we were paying a little less, but the duplex, 2 bedrooms, whatever it was, you got 5 kids and 2 bedrooms. Now that doesn't work out too good. So we needed a bigger place for the kids. So we stayed there for a number of years. I don't know how many years, and yeah. But that goes back to, that's why I can remember when I got certain components to do my video production. And when I moved in that house, I didn't have a job. I didn't have a job at all. I found another job at Computer Warehouse because I got to get another job, right? Got to pay the bills. So I got a job at Computer Warehouse on Howe Avenue, and they wanted me to sell internet. And I didn't even know what internet was. That's how new the game was. We're talking about 1995, so it was really not a lot of people know what internet was. AOL was the leading internet provider all around the world. AOL and a couple other companies, I guess, but it wasn't big time like it was. It wasn't no Google. It wasn't any of that kind of stuff. Okay, the main browser everybody used to use was called Netscape. Netscape was the main browser everyone used to use back in the day. Alta Vista was another one I remember. And they had fax modems. We had these little modems you had to hook up on your table, on your desk, to your big desktop computer. You had a big old desktop computer, big old beige computer. And when I started working there, it was Windows 3.1. Okay, it wasn't no Windows, what do we got now? Windows 10, Windows 11. It wasn't no Windows 11. It was Windows 3.1. And prior to that, it used to be Windows 1.1. Okay, it used to be Windows 1.1, Windows 2.1. I used to have all those different versions at one point as part of my collection. I may get them again one day just to show you guys. But if you go on the internet, you can get screenshots of those. I got screenshots of all the different versions. It's real funny looking at that. Windows 1.1, 2.1, 3.1, 3. Whatever, 3.11, and then later on, after the 3.1, it went to Windows 95. I was like, wow. Windows 95 was a whole new ball game. No, a lot of people didn't like it because everybody was so used to 3.1. The boxes were different. Everything was different. We had to get used to the drop-down menus and everything. I mean, I think I had drop-down menus on there too, but it was different. And we had to get used to Windows 95. Windows 95 was like, wow, that's futuristic. Wow. So around that time when Windows 95 came out, it was 1995, of course. That's when I started to really take off in the video production. That's when I think that's when I got my Amiga. I got my Amiga 2000. I bought it used from somebody. We used to buy stuff out of the paper back then, out of the newspaper back then. It wasn't no Craigslist, and it wasn't no what is it? I don't know if it was Craigslist or not back then, but I used to use the newspaper, the one ads. I mean, not the one ads, classifieds, and I used to buy stuff out of the paper from people all the time. It wasn't no offer up. It was the newspaper. Look through the Sacramento Bee, and you buy stuff. Me and my friend Greg used to go around buying stuff from people all the time. I remember I bought my first TV. It was a Sears color television set. Not my first TV, my first portable color television set. It was a 9-inch television set. It was huge. It was about that long. And only that big screen. 9 inches, I guess. About the size of an iPad. Well, older iPad. And I cut out my whole dash to put that TV in the dashboard of my Nissan truck. Yeah, I know I got sidetracked a little bit, but I'm just letting you know that was back in the 80s when I did that. But like 88, I think, when I did that. Yeah. But anyway, I was trying to do custom stuff. Always trying to do something different. But going back to 1995, yeah, they hired me as an internet sales consultant / department manager for audio visual. Sounds good. I was the department manager, the manager for our department for audio visual equipment, and I sold television sets, I sold VCRs, DVD players, everything that was audio visual at that time. Mainly VCRs, DVD players, satellite systems, yeah. Dish Network, and also DirecTV. I remember when they first came in. It was Thompson Consumer Electronics, RCA, Thompson Consumer Electronics, Dish Network, and yeah, that was cool. So, and also Snappy. Snappy keeps you happy and keeps your hair from being nappy. Snappy was a module that plugged into the back of your computer, your parallel port. You guys don't hear about that anymore. Parallel port was an old connector that went in the back of your computer. You plug the Snappy in, and then you had a composite input where you could plug in a video camera. Wow. Or any other type of composite signal. It could be a video game unit or whatever, and you could snap a picture. That's all you could do. Could you record with that? I think you could only snap a picture with recorded video running through it. I remember that. I don't think you could do video yet. Couldn't do video yet. So around that time, I could be wrong, but I don't think you could. It had like a little video screen that would pop up on your screen and everything. It was kind of cool, colorful, and you snap a picture off of that video, and then you could have them try to make it look better and better, and changing all the different settings. It was terrible, but it was the only thing we had back then. So when I worked at this store on Howe Avenue, I wanted to jazz up a little bit, and I was into building the displays and putting the TV sets together. Matter of fact, when I first got there, there was no TVs hooked up or anything. And they told me, we want you to run this department. We want you to be the department manager, set everything up. So I came in with my own cables and wires and coax cables, and I wired all the TVs all up together so that they all would come on to a VCR or whatever, and or our cable system. And I was a department manager. I ran that mug. But I started setting up displays for the internet too, to make the internet more sellable. That's not the real right word, but marketable. So there was this huge giant globe that was in the middle of the store called CNET. That was their company. It was called CNET, Computer Network, Computer Warehouse Network, whatever. I guess that was the name of their. They were the provider. They were trying to be a provider at the time, and I didn't know anything about it. So I learned, and this older guy told me about it. He had a beard like my beard back then. He was probably about my age back then. He was in his 60s, and he told me about it. He sat down with me. He says, "Tony, this is what internet is, and this is how it worked." He broke down the whole structure of it and everything. I was like, wow. And after he broke down everything, I still didn't understand everything, but I was like, okay, I'll try to go out and sell this stuff. And I went out and tried to sell it, and people did not want it. They did not want it. It was like $39 a month. And you only got so many hours. It was all limited. It was really weird. So I was like, hey, we got to do something about this. I went back in there. We looked at the packages, and I revamped it. And I said, you know what? Do you guys have like a trial thing they can try out or something? That way we can get them to start using it. And then they had a $6 package. And the $6 package gave you so many hours. It was really, really limited. And I was like, okay, let me go ahead and market that. So I started marketing that package, and that package actually, it kind of just took off. It took off. Next thing you know, I had like 2,000 people signed up under me, and we got what they call spiffs, and we got what they call spiffs, so you could buy things in the store. Every time you sign a person up, you got like $10, and they still do that to this very day, but they do it now with cell phones and stuff. They give you the free phones. Hey, you want a free phone? And every time a person signs up, they get I think $10 or something like that. So it was an incentive for me at the time. I was young, and I think I was like 30 years old, and I was like 29 or something like that. So bear with the squeaky doors. We got some squeaky doors here. Yeah, keeping it real. It's my dad. But so the thing of it is that after that time period, or during that time period, 1995, I decided to use the Snappy. Going back to the Snappy. Snappy was made by Play, a company called Play, the same company that made Trinity. Trinity wasn't made yet, because Trinity didn't come out to 1998. This was 1995. So they had other products. They had this morph thing and software. They had a lot of stuff they made. And Trinity was, or Play, the company Play, made a lot of cool stuff. And Paul Montgomery, who passed away, rest in peace, Paul Montgomery and I think Tim Jensen, they were engineers, and they worked together, and they came up with New Tech. Okay? These are the guys who came up with the video toaster. So I don't know if they were still working together at that time or whatever, but I think they separated somehow. And I just know Play had their own line of products. So with that line of products that they had, Snappy was one of the products, was one of the main products. And with Snappy, you were able to snap the pictures into and put them into your computer. That's how revolutionary this was back in the day. And it doesn't seem like nothing nowadays, but back in the day, we were like, wow, you could put your picture in a computer, and you could take it out, and you could send it out, and you could, I don't know, send it to people, whatever. Email wasn't even very popular back then. Everything was all new. So my goal was to demonstrate this product, Snappy, and sell the product Snappy. And I sold a lot of those in the store. I had them all lined up and displayed and everything. And I had my picture on the screen, because you could alter your picture with the Snappy. That was kind of a cool thing. I think they had some software you could alter your picture. I know Morph was one of the ones where you could alter it. But I think it was Photoshop back then. I used Photoshop 1. We ain't talking about this new CS3 and all this stuff that everybody's got now, or CS6. I don't know where they are now. I used Photoshop 1. It was like, yeah. I think I used Photoshop back then. But anyway, I altered my picture to make it look like, I used to have the high top fade, of course, but it wasn't high as I like to have it. So I made it real high, and I made it kind of come out like a pyramid. It was crazy. It came out like a pyramid, like a reverse pyramid. Pyramids like this, and I made it come out like that. Something from like Star Trek. I don't know, it was weird. So I made my hair come way up in the air, and then I took a picture, and I had a Star Trek uniform on. I think I bought a Star Trek uniform back then. And then I love Star Trek. And then I put myself next to William Shatner. Okay? And it looked like, that was a cool picture. I think I might still have it one day on a file or something. But I put that picture on the big screen TV next to the Globe, next to the Snappies. And that way the Snappies start selling like crazy. People were buying Snappies like, man, I want this. You can do this. Wow, we didn't know you could do this. Yeah, that's me right there. Yeah. So anyway. So I'm known for putting together displays, putting together product. That's where I really got into. I think that was the beginning of my marketing, learning to market products to sell. I started selling the internet like crazy. I had 2,000 customers at the time. Now, I was promised at that time, I wasn't even making no money. Okay, I was a department manager. Well, that's why I joke with titles nowadays. I was a department manager of computer warehouse and the internet sales representative and blah blah blah, and I had all these great titles, but I wasn't making any money. It was paying me like $5 an hour. Okay. When I worked at Packard Bell, previous to that, before getting laid off, I was only making $7.50 an hour. Okay. So money was different back then. Times were different. Prices were different. Gas was different. Economy was different. So I went from $7 to $5. I took a step down, but I had to do what I had to do to provide for my family. So that's why I took that job. And since it wasn't paying a lot of money, they made promises. They said, hey, we're going to give you $10 for every customer that you sign up, but it's $10 credit towards buying something in the store. It's like a coupon. You don't get $10. You get $10 credit plus your hourly. So my hourly was $5 an hour, and I got $10 to buy something in the store, floppies or whatever I want to buy, CD-ROMs or whatever. There wasn't a lot of stuff back then that was really fantastic, but I used it. I was motivated because I like electronics and I like computers and all that kind of stuff at the time. So I was like, okay, cool. So I started selling like crazy. And next thing you know it, I'm buying all kinds of stuff. I ended up buying a TV out of the store, and at the time it was I'm trying to think what size it was. It was a huge TV. I think it was a tube TV. It was a tube TV. It wasn't a flat screen. The thing was so heavy. It was one of the biggest TVs you could get, and that TV was expensive. And I bought it with spiffs, and they were mad. The brothers, because it was a bunch of brothers that owned the company. They were kind of mad when I bought it because they were like, "Man, this guy's selling too much stuff." And I was buying it, so I bought that big TV. I remember buying it and bringing it home, and my wife looked at me and said, "Wow, where'd you get this big TV?" And that was a big TV back in our day. I think it was like a 30-inch screen, but that was big back in the day. 30-inch 4x3. And because most TVs were 27-inch TVs. Yeah, 27. Oh wow, that's a big TV. 27 inches. Oh, you got a 32. Oh, you got a 30 or 32? It was something like that. And I think it was RCA. It was the RCA TV that I bought, which was still was along the name of ProScan. ProScan was another name that had the higher version, but it was still the same TV, or whatever. So I was like, I got an RCA or ProScan. I used to say ProScan. That was a big thing back then. So, going back to that, just to let you know, it was like, I didn't make a lot of money, and I ended up leaving the company. And the reason I left the company, I quit, resigned, whatever you want to call it. I didn't get fired. I quit. I quit because, like I said, the money wasn't there, and the promises that they made, they said, we're going to pay you $2 per person. Doesn't sound like a lot back then, but we're gonna give you $2 per person for your customers. How many customers you sign up for per month? So that was going to be another monthly check that I was going to get. So 2,000 customers that I signed up times 2 is 4, right? 2 times 2 is 4. So that would have been $4,000 that I would have got per month. That's pretty good, ain't it? Yeah. Now it's not. Now it's the math starting to work for you. So they promised me that $2,000 a month for every customer that was signed up, and that 2,000 customers times 2 would have been 4,000. And they said, we can't pay you that. Sorry, we can't pay you. So it was a verbal contract where they told me they were going to do this before I started signing all these people up, and I didn't have it in writing. And I was like, okay, well, I'm out of here. And then at the time, Fry's Electronics, I used to go to Fry's Electronics all the time, all my off time, and look at their electronics and stuff. And the guys liked me, and they thought I'd be a great salesman. So I started working at Fry's Electronics, the largest electronics store in the world, where your best buys is guaranteed at Fry's. That's where I came up with that slogan. And when I walked in there, I didn't know they put me in the software department. Okay, so they put me in software, and I was like, okay, I know a little bit about software, and I started learning. So we're not going to go all into that because that's a whole nother thing. That was Bro Life, one of my earlier Bro Lives. I think I talked about that. But we're going to finish up on these cameras because I got to start packing some of this stuff back up and take it back to the Broadcaster Museum. But I wanted to give you the reason why I came up with the name Broadcaster. And Broadcaster came from TriCaster, and TriCaster came years later, which is 2005 once again. And then instead of me this is where I got off track. I knew I couldn't afford a TriCaster, which was made by New Tech. Tim Jennison. Okay, Tim Jennison. Yep. Thank you, Tim Jennison, for creating that. Great switching application, nonlinear, everything, the whole 9 yards, the whole package, $5,000. I couldn't afford a TriCaster. So I said, you know what? I'm going to make a broadcaster. And I'm going to be a broadcaster instead of a broadcaster. And that's where it came from. And at the same time, the Globecaster had came out, which is made by Trinity. Trinity had went out of business. Like I said, Paul Montgomery had passed away, and I think they might have sold that company over to Globecaster and Globestream, and then they called their unit the Globecaster, which was a gray unit instead of the big blue and orange box that I always put out there. The blue and orange box, which is the Trinity, which I actually have now. Okay, I have the Trinity. We'll show that another day. The thing is big, it's heavy. I'm not going to even try to go pull it out of the Broadcaster. It's in the Broadcaster Museum right now. But that came out in 1998. The TriCaster came out in 2005. Going back to the TriCaster, everything was about caster, Globecaster, TriCaster, this and that. So I said, you know what, I'm going to be a broadcaster. I'm going to be different. I'm going to do something different. And a broadcaster is somebody that, like myself, a brother on a budget, that's going to create, that's going to have some type of switching system to be able to switch their cameras and do all the stuff, lower thirds, graphics. I want to be able to do all the stuff like the news does, but I want to do it on a budget. So we're going to be a broadcaster instead of a TriCaster, instead of a Globecaster, and all the other casters that's out there. That's where the name Broadcaster came from. And I am a broadcaster. I am the original broadcaster. If anybody wants to ever look back at this tape or look back at any tape, you'll see that I've been broadcasting for a long time. When I talk about broadcasting Friday, broadcasting Saturday, broadcasting, that's just part of my branding. Yes, I am the original broadcaster. A brother on a budget. Making things happen with whatever you have. I don't care if you got this old camera from 1985, the Canon Vision from 1985. You can still be a broadcaster. Whether you got something new, you got this Mavica, okay, MVC, I call it a Mavica. If you got one of these, that's okay. If you got a Handycam, a Sony Handycam, you can still be a broadcaster. So that's what I tell you guys. And once again, we go back to that. If you do want to be a broadcaster and you like what I'm telling you, don't hate, don't wait, donate. $sign Tony Mcdew. But we're not done. We're going to go over a couple more of these because I got to start packing them up. I got them kind of everywhere. Being a broadcaster. Being a broadcaster. I'm just looking at my baby here. I always wanted broadcast cameras. I always wanted a professional broadcast cameras. And like I said, when you look at something like this little plasticky camera from 1985, you know, this is what we started off with back in the day, yeah. But I always wanted something that looked like this. Okay, this is my baby right here. So I actually got this around 1995, I think. I might have got it in 94, 93. It was really close in that time. I remember getting this camera. And this camera is pretty heavy. This is the battery pack right here for it. And this is the V3, the WV-V3 Panasonic color camera. Okay, I call it ENG. And it's got the release plate right here. Take it off. You gotta have this in order to put it on your tripod. These things are pretty heavy too. But you take this baby, you put your hand in here. And now we're in the professional. We're in the professional realm. Okay. And you guys are probably wondering about this camera right here. This is not the original one that I got in 1995. But would you believe, and we're going to tell you this, that I still have the one from 1995. I do have the original one. Unfortunately, I do not have it right now. It's in my one of my other broadcaster museums in Vegas. We still have it. Broadcaster Museum in Vegas is storage. Okay. I do have it. And that thing came all the way with me from Sacramento to Vegas. When I got to Vegas in 2002, 2003, in between there, I think it was around 2003 when I got to Vegas. That camera went with me from 1995 to now. I might have got it in 1994. But this camera is not from 1995. That's when I got it. Okay, everybody's talking about a red camera. This is the real red camera, and it's heavy. Okay, it's bright red, very good condition. You guys can see it. WV-V3. Hopefully you guys can see that. WV-V3 Panasonic. This thing is nice, and it works. Okay, the battery detaches. This is the battery right here. The battery is hecka heavy. It detaches, so it looks like this without the battery. Sometimes I show you guys videos of this camera, but I got this camera from the thrift store, believe it or not too long ago. And this is a very, very hard camera to find. Very, very rare camera, I believe it is. It has a lot of sentimental value to me, because this is the camera I started going out doing all my professional video with and trying to make a little money back in the day, back in 1995. I used to take it to Calvary Christian Center. I used to take it to the church all the time. I used to carry it with me all the time. We had a big old black case. I don't have a case for it. Had a big old black case. And I actually purchased it at Roseville. Roseville Denials Farmers Auction. You guys ever heard that? The Roseville Farmers Denials Auction. I bought it at the auction for $150. Back in 1994, 1995, right? Between that time I bought that camera, I remember. And this put me on a professional level of going around doing professional work for people. So the reason that I show you this is because I've always wanted to have a professional camera, going from the old plastic Quasar camcorder, starting with that one in 1996, and the other color cameras that we talked about in the previous videos, the RCA color cameras and all this stuff. So going from all those plastic cameras to something like this that's really made out of some really durable. This is ENG, electronic news gathering. But this camera did not have a tape deck. You notice there's no tape deck, there's nothing on here. So you still had to plug a cord into this, and you still had to plug it into a VCR. And at that time, I had a Panasonic AG something professional VCR with the little meters and stuff. I got one over there right now. And I used to hook it up, I think it was a 7400 or so, 7450 or something like that. And it was Super VHS. The camera was not Super VHS, but I had it hooked up to a Super VHS VCR to give me that professional look, because Super VHS was supposed to be the best back then, Super VHS. So I don't have the Super VHS model now. I have the 6400, I think. The 6400 I bought off of eBay, got it cheap. The 7400, you can't hardly get it anymore. If you do, you got to spend a lot of money, maybe over $100. I didn't want to spend over $100 for it at the time. So that was supposed to be the best, Super VHS. And I got the 7450 back then. I paid like $250 for that thing. I bought it from a guy used. And that thing was the thing cost a lot of money back then. It was like $1,000 or something, or more. So going back to that part of my history, I wanted to have the professional broadcast cameras. I wanted to have the TriCaster, the Trinity, the Toaster, all these things so that I could do my news sets and news videos, and that's where everything took off right there. So now, where I am right now, 30, 40 years later, I decided that hey, now I can get some of those things, and now I'm able to achieve those things. So do I have a TriCaster? Yeah, I have a TriCaster now. I have the TriCaster. I don't have the one from 2005, which I probably really wouldn't use that model anyway. That's the old composite model. I got a high definition TriCaster that came out in 2012. It came out in 2012, and that TriCaster back at that time was still $5,000. They always kept the price $5,000, $5,000, $5,000. I think one of them went up to the broadcast one. I think that went up to $8,000. I got that one too. So I've got the TriCaster Studio. I got the TriCaster Broadcast. I've got the TriCaster 40, which is the high definition, and I have a couple other TriCasters. I got a total of 5 TriCasters. I got 5 TriCasters. I'm keeping it real. Some of them are not working. It's a long story. Right now, I only got 2 of them that are working. I got 2 TriCaster 40s that work, and that's fine. You only really need one, and it's component input. It's not HDMI. So you can't just plug HDMI cameras into it. It is high definition, and but it's component in. So you got to do RGB. You got to do red, green, and red. What is it? Red, blue, and green. Okay, red, blue, and green. And you got to plug those in. There's BNC cables you got to plug in, and converter, and then you can get converters to convert from HDMI to that if you want to do that. That's what I've had to do. I had to buy a couple converters. So that's a whole long story, but they work. I got my TriCaster. Matter of fact, we got it set up. It works. I'll show it to you one day. That'll be another video. But I finally got the TriCaster. That's what I wanted to kind of say. And this is just recently. I didn't have a TriCaster back in, was it 2020? 2020, I think I got my first TriCaster, and it didn't work. I got it for like $50, $59. It didn't work. I was kind of mad. It was missing the whole operating system because it didn't have a hard drive. And I bought it on eBay. Then I bought another TriCaster. It didn't work. So it was like trial and error. I kept on buying them until I finally got one that worked. And I got the TriCaster Broadcast. That was the first one that worked. And now it's not working anymore. So, saying all that, you don't need a TriCaster nowadays. All you need is OBS. And I talked about that in a lot of other videos. OBS is, I keep forgetting what the O stands for. Broadcasting software. It's free. You download it, OBS, and I always say on air. It's not on air. It's open broadcasting software, something like that. Open broadcast software. So it's free. Download it. Go to the site. OBS. Just type in OBS in Google, and then it'll tell you whether you want it for Mac or Linux or you want it for PC. Download it. It's great. I use it on the Bro Mac. I got the Bro Mac sitting in front of me right now. For the people that don't know what the Bro Mac is is an HP computer built inside of an iMac, an old iMac from 2001. And I got OBS on this computer right now, and if I want to make a video like I'm making this video right now, I just plug a camera into a little capture card. Look, I found the capture card yesterday, I think for $6 or $5, and you just take the little capture card, you plug it in USB into your computer, and you plug your HDMI little camcorder. It could be a little tiny small camcorder like I showed you guys before. You plug that into your OBS, and now you're making your video, and you can see everything on your computer, and you can see everything on your levels, your audio, and you can put in graphics and lower thirds and pictures and all this stuff, and that's what people use nowadays. And they also use this thing called the Stream Deck. The Stream Deck. I don't have a Stream Deck. I want to get one of those one day. If you guys want to donate so I can get one. Stream Deck is it's a little device that connects to your computer, USB, and you're able to control your pictures, your videos, your lower thirds, your graphics. It's great. I want one of those. They're like $200. They got different models. I think you can maybe get a used one for maybe $70 or $80, or one of the older versions. And you just punch buttons in, and you can have all your titles popping in and everything. That's probably what you want. That would be the new TriCaster. That would be the new way. I call it the poor man's TriCaster. That's the poor man TriCaster, because you don't need all the big TriCaster with the computer and all this input output cards. You don't need that anymore. when you get a Stream Deck. Get a Stream Deck, hook it in OBS, and now you have yourself a poor man's TriCaster, which that's what everybody uses nowadays. And it's pretty convenient. It don't take up a lot of space, and it's very powerful. Anyway, enough of that. So I gotta start packing up a little bit, but I just wanted to show you broadcasting cameras have always been part of my nature. We're gonna show this other sports camera one more time. This is my second one. I got two of these. Okay, they're going on display side by side. Eventually, I just wanted to tell you I got two of those. Came from the thrift store. I got a great price on it. I usually buy cameras just like this. I'll buy a body. This was a camera that I wanted back in the day, JVC, and the lens is missing. Of course, I took the lens off and put it on another camera, and we'll talk about that. That's another whole subject. But this is one of the JVC cameras. I bought it. I got it really cheap too. It's like $60, and this camera back in the day would have cost you some money. I really want this camera really bad. And this is an E&G camera. You would hold it like the same thing, shoulder mount. You would be holding the lens right here. But I buy a lot of bodies like this. So the reason that I'm making this video is because I told you guys today I got the Vericam. Finally got the Vericam after years and years and years of wanting the Vericam. You guys know what a Vericam is. So I finally got the Vericam. I got it sitting here on the table, and I wanted to show you the introduction to that. The introduction to the Vericam was cameras like this. Okay, this is a broadcast camera, Panasonic, very heavy. My Vericam is pretty heavy too. So I bought the body. I told you I buy a lot of cameras. I just showed you the body. This body right here. I bought just the body of the Vericam not too long ago from shopgoodwill.com. Shopgoodwill.com for a very, very low price. You're not gonna believe this. $7, not $7.99, not $8.99, not $7.49, $7. And I was so happy that I got the Vericam for $7. I didn't care if it worked or not for $7. And unfortunately, unfortunately, it actually works. So, believe it or not, hang on here and move this cable out the way here. I got the microphone cable still plugged in. This is the Vericam. I gotta sit back here a little bit. This is the Vericam, everybody. I bought just the body right here. This is the body. It's kind of scratched up a little bit. We're gonna do some work to the body. I put the battery on the back. It's Anton Bauer battery from one of my other cameras. Got a monitor on here. Got a lens, a Canon lens. Okay, this is the Vericam for only $7. Okay. We're gonna shoot video with this. I shot video with it yesterday. I was testing it all out, and it actually works. High definition. This is the first high definition camera. I ain't gonna say the first high definition. This is a high definition camera that I wanted for a long time. This thing is heavy. Okay, I don't know how many. It's really heavy with this big battery on the back. You don't necessarily need a big battery on the back. It's Anton Bauer battery. Okay, but you put it on your shoulder like this, and then you hold it like this, and you got your eyepiece right here. Now this did not have an eyepiece. I put a Sony eyepiece in here, and the Sony eyepiece plugs in and everything, but it's not working right now. I got to find out why it's not working. I'm not gonna plug it back in, but it's not working. I just kind of modified the Sony eyepiece because it didn't have all the bracketing. I put a different bracket on here and made it work, like a magic arm bracket. And then I got a monitor up top here. This is the monitor that I'm using. It's a Diginow monitor. And we'll set it down this way so you guys can see it. This thing has all kind of controls on here. Your audio, everything works, which is pretty cool. Here's the monitor right here. Turn the monitor on just to show you. The monitor is battery powered, and the monitor is the Diginow. This is the Diginow monitor that I was telling everybody about. I use this to test a lot of my cameras with. It works with composite and component signals going in and out, and it also has HDMI. So this is a cool monitor. I'm gonna turn it off right now. I don't have anything going into it. Now this camera does not have composite coming out. It has SDI, HD SDI coming out, and SDI stands for Serial Digital Interface. That is a different connection for professionals. It's not for consumers, so you probably never heard of it. SDI, not HDMI. SDI or SDI, SD, HDMI. No, not SDI. SDI. Anyway, serial digital interface. So that comes out in the back through the BNC connectors. And I got my microphone plugged in, XLR microphone plugged in channel 2 right now. And I tested it out yesterday with a cheap microphone. I got an Insignia microphone I use. And I tested it out also with the shotgun mic. I put the shotgun mic on there. And I got to adjust this a little bit more. Like I said, I got a magic arm on here. And the Sony, I'm going to plug this in. I was going to plug it back in here for right now. It plugs in. This is a Sony eyepiece or viewfinder. And the Sony viewfinder is not working right now. I'm not sure. It might be a different wiring scheme, or it takes too much power or something. I got to find out what's going on with that. And maybe it will not even work with that. I'm not sure. It's got a Canon lens on here. This Canon lens is a lens that I bought a long time ago from another broadcast camera. I bought a camera for like 80 bucks. And it was a D30. It was a D30. I got that back in 2020, I remember. I got a D30 back in 2020, and this lens was so fantastic. This is a real good lens. It's a 20x lens. Canon 20x X12, it looks like. I don't know. But this is a very nice lens. I got to put the cap back on there too. I don't want it to get dirty. But that lens came off one of my other, came off my DV cam, my Sony DV cam, which is not HD. So this is one of the first HD cameras that I've got that's professional, that's broadcast. Okay? Now I'm keeping it real, because what I used to do is I would buy a camera, a broadcast camera. This thing is heavy, put it down. I would buy a camera like a SD camera, standard definition, and then I would put HD on the side of it. Get me some HD stickers and put HD on the side of it. And maybe use something like a GoPro or something, and I would record in HD. That's what I used to do back in the day. But this is a real HD camera. I really wanted it. I don't know how much it cost back in the day. I know it was pretty pricey. And I got it for $7. I just wanted to show you that. Show it to you one more time. This thing is nice. $7. $7 for all this. And I might put some more stuff on here. I might put a matte box on here. I got a matte box over there. I might put a matte box on here and some other stuff and make it even bigger. But this is definitely a broadcasting camera. So it made me feel good to have cameras like this, because I always wanted to have professional cameras. And now I have a bunch of them. Okay? We'll do an inventory one day and I'll tell you how many I got. Pick up one more over here. Here is another Panasonic. This is DVC Pro. This is the DVC Pro. Older one. Don't know what year it is. But it's not as big and heavy as the other one. But it could be built up to be even bigger. And this is, like I said, self-contained. You got your tape deck all built in. You got your tape deck built on the other one. That one's HD. This one's not HD. This is SD, standard definition. But you can make these things out of whatever you want to make them out of, like I say. So I think we're gonna end this broadcast. But before I end it, I'm gonna show you a couple more. I'm always talking about that JVC camera I told you where I bought the body the other day. This is what it looks like when it's built. I wanted this one real bad when it came out back in 2005. I think these things came out, and they were probably pricey back then, probably about $3,000-4,000. Now you can find these things on eBay, thrift store. This is my other 110. This is the JVC 110, and you can put different batteries on the back here. This is a V-mount battery. It pops off. Okay, this would be considered another professional ENG camera. Boom. I always wanted these back in the day, and now I'm able to achieve them without paying the big prices, without trying to gamble and go out there and get money and do these things that you don't need to do. You don't need to gamble. You just gotta wait. Be patient. JVC HD. This is actually HD too. This is HD. Pro HD. It says Pro HD. I got a couple of these. So that's Pro HD. I think it was only 720p though. But that's all you need. You don't need 1080p. 720p. Make a video, and you're done. Okay. Going back to, I'm gonna show you a couple more, and we're gonna end this segment. This is broadcasting Flashback Friday. Broadcasting Flashback Friday. Man, I gotta put this back on there. It's looking kind of crazy now. Some of these I gotta fix up a little bit. Anyway, this is an Ikegami. We talked about Ikegami. Ikegami was a brand name back in the day. This is one I got not too long ago. I gotta put another viewfinder back on here. I think I took the viewfinder off and put it on another camera, or maybe it didn't come with the viewfinder. I don't think this one came with one. This is an Ikegami broadcast camera from the 80s, 90s, and this did not come with. This is kind of stuff that is part of my collection, part of the Broadcaster Museum. But Ikegami, I just wanted to guys show you that name, Ikegami. You probably never heard of it, and I've got 4 Ikegami cameras now. I used to have several Ikegami cameras back in Vegas, and I don't have the ones I used to have. I'm looking for the 79D or the 79E, which is like one of the original ones from 1979. That's the one I really want, but too pricey right now. Here's another Ikegami. This is a more up-to-date. And plug in the I didn't plug the lens in. Just gonna plug the lens in real quick. This is one of my favorite Ikegamis right now. This is more up-to-date one. This might be from around 2000, 2005, somewhere around there. Between 2000 2005. This is a nice one. It's got the beta tape in the back. Okay, this is the HLD DV7 Ikegami. Not HL. No, it's got like a number on here too. Should be like the 55 or something like that. I don't know. We'll get back with you on that. But this is another Ikegami camera, tape based DV cam. This is the DV cam. I can't remember. Should have another number. It says DV7, and maybe this is DV7. DV7W. Okay. I'm probably thinking about my other one. Yeah, I'm thinking about my other one. So this is the Ikegami. I just wanted to show you my Ikegami collection right now. Some of them. And I do have the bigger Ikegami. That's from my previous videos. If you watch, go back to that one. You'll see that one. Here it is. This is the HL55. This is the HL55 with the beta deck on the back. This is what I was thinking about. This is also Ikegami with the beta deck. And I think that's going to cover our Flashback Friday for the day. But I just wanted to show you some of these cameras because they were very oh man, I gotta show you this one. Okay, I was supposed to show you this one earlier. Kind of out of order right now. This is the camera we're going to be using the next couple of days. We're going to talk more about this one. This is the Konica. Look at this. Not a broadcast camera, not a professional camera. So just a regular camera. I got it on a little tripod. Take off this tripod right now because it's kind of in my way. This is going to be on display, possibly, but we're going to be using this. We're going to be going out shooting with this. We can convert this to high definition. This is the Konica from 1984, 1985. Didn't know a lot about this. Got it from the thrift store for like $6, $7. And we're going to try it. It says May 1985 on here. Manufacturing date, May 1985. I don't know if you guys can see that. I don't know. But I like it because it's lightweight. Has this long cord, of course, you have to plug it in. This will be perfect for plugging into that Technicolor VCR. And boom, going out doing your video. This one actually works too. I plugged it up, it actually works. A lot of these older cameras, some of them actually work. That black and white camera, I plugged it the other day. I think the Sharp works. And a couple other ones work too, but we're not going to be really using the optics from that because it's not good. This is one of the smallest tube cameras. I did some research on that. This is one of the smallest tube cameras that came out during that time because there's a tube in here. It's not even a CCD. So this is a tube camera. This is one of the smallest ones that they made back in that day. So it's very popular. I got this thing with the box, the manual, everything. I got the book for it. I got it over here. Yeah, here's the book for it right here. Here's the book, here's the manual. And we're going to make a whole special talking about this camera, but I don't really have that much time to talk about it. But this camera is cool. Look at the texture, look at the color. It matches the Cybertruck. So we're going to be putting this with the Cybertruck. And we're going to be putting it with the Sharp. And we're going to be putting it with the Technicolor. They're all going to go on display, and it's also going to go with the TRS Radio Shack computer. Because it all has the same type of plastic too, probably. This plastic on the Cybertruck feels cheaper. So anyway, we're going to end this video. I love you guys once again. Peace and love. Flashback Friday. Get right with the Lord. That's what this is about too. Get right with the Lord because time is leaving all of us right now. I wanted to go into another long story about the broadcasting stuff that's going on in the world. There was a 16-year-old boy that got stabbed a couple days ago out here in Sacramento under the bridge. Very, very tragic loss. Get right with the Lord. I tell everybody, get right with the Lord, because you don't know how long you're going to be here on this earth. 16 years old, and I think they're still looking for the people that did it. It's part of World Broadcast News. I'm popping in now. Yeah. Sorry about that. We're back again. Just wanted to tell you one more camera. I forgot to tell you guys. Oh man, this is Hitachi. This is the Z31A computer. It's called the computer cam. Don't ask me where that name came from. That's what it says. I don't know if you guys can see that anywhere. Computer cam. Okay. This is the Z31A Hitachi. Okay. Put it on this side so you guys can see it. This is also another vintage camcorder. I don't have a strap on there. I'm supposed to have a strap on here to hold it like this anyway. This is another professional E&G camcorder. Came out, I think it was like 1979, 1980. And this would have been a professional camcorder that I would have loved to have back in that day. Not plastic. Like I said, we're talking about 1980s. Might have been 81, might have been, I forget, I think it was a 79 or 80. Because it looks like the Ikegami, the one that I want. I can't find that one anymore, the 79E or the 79A, 79D. I used to have one of those. And what I did is I actually painted it. I took it all apart and painted it. And took it to CES. I remember that. I took it to CES in Las Vegas. CES, Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. I forgot what year I took it, but it was painted a lime green. You might see that footage somewhere one of these days. And it was painted like a lime green, like almost like a chroma green color. But it was lime green. I remember painting it because it was all scratched up. And this one I'm not going to paint. These I'm keeping original. Now I'm going to paint my DVC Pro 50. I got a DVC Pro 50 I just got not too long ago. And got it really cheap. I think it was $22 for it. Not too bad. 22 bucks for a vintage DVC Pro 50, and that's standard definition, not high definition. We're actually going to paint it, so we're going to take the panels off, and it's just usually a couple screws where you take the panels off, and then you can sand it down, and you could prime it, and you could paint it whatever color. And we're going to paint it probably like a fluorescent green, either a fluorescent green, maybe another lime green, or I was thinking about like a candy apple color, like a candy apple red or candy apple blue or something like that would be cool, or metallic blue. So we are going to paint that camera because that's the paint job is pretty bad on it. That's the only reason that I'm going to do it. Original cameras like this, I wouldn't really paint them. Take away from this originality. Look at this door, this little slide door right here. Bam, little slide door on the side with a lot of controls and stuff in there. Really cool. This is the Z31A computer cam. It's called Computer Cam by Hitachi. A lot of companies were branded at the same time. So we're gonna sign off. Just want to let you guys know, and once again, don't hate, don't wait, donate. $ Tony Mcdew, and we out. So we're gonna end this video. I love you guys. Once again, get right with the Lord. Your boy Tony from Cali, and also what was I gonna say? Don't hate, don't wait. If you like this information, I'm telling you guys about all these cameras and my life story and broadcasting and how everything started, and history and tips and tricks on how to do your videos or whatever. Donate, don't hate, don't wait, donate. $ Tony Mcdew, and we're out.